If you give a vegan a cookie, they will be very happy indeed.
I mean, if you give me an Oreo, I'll always be happy indeed. Is that one of the Halloween Oreos?
I know it's totally early for it, but it's very good.
It's never too early for the fall season / Halloween, in my opinion. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 89 of Restitching the Tapestry. It's great to see all of you. Hard to believe we're on episode 89, but here we are, and we have quite a bit to talk about tonight. There has been a lot of stuff happening in the world. Were you about to say something, Ari?
We're staring down the 90s. That means grunge is almost coming back.
Grunge has never been gone, in my opinion. For those of us who are grungy in our hearts.
It's true.
I don't know if that's a flex on my part, but hey.
Hey.
Right. So tonight we're going to be talking about money, honey. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different things regarding money, but we're going to be talking about the recent announcement that there is going to be some student debt cancellation, and we're going to be talking about a TikTok influencer before we get to talking about money. But I guess before we get started, let's talk about how we've been doing and what we've been up to.
Well, if you follow my YouTube channel, a lot's been going on with me. I had a video kind of go viral over the weekend. My vegan Social Security payday video. I was like, whoa, I was like, how did I have like over 200 people watch? Viral for me, whatever.
Your YouTube's been blowing up lately. Like most of your views have been like doubled or tripled, and I'm just like, yes.
I'm not used to that. But I ran a 5K over the weekend. It was not like the greatest time in the world, but it was good for me, and I was very proud of myself.
Oh my goodness, I got so emotional watching your video, especially toward the end. Like just being able to do something like that and work toward a goal that you before didn't think you could do, like that's so validating and powerful. And I know that you used to really pride yourself on running all the time, right? So you have put in so much work over the past few months training for this. So
I hate to say it, but running is kind of my personality trait.
I love that. Definitely not my personality trait. The moment if I ran like 5 feet, I'd be on the floor.
It's true. Like lately, it's been like I'll run in like the first like probably like 7 or 8 minutes. Like I just kind of want to die, and then after that, it's a great. But I don't think I used to be like that. I used to really feel like energized the first like probably like 20 minutes of running, and then I would get really tired. But I don't know, it's like I'll start running and it's like I just want to die, and then I feel really energized after that. So it's kind of a weird feeling to like get tired first and then feel excited after that. So and I noticed I can remember back when I used to be like really fit, like the way that I would run, like how my pace used to be, as opposed to like how my pace is now. Like the way that my body moves when I run, I can like see the differences. It's interesting to think about the differences now.
That is very interesting. Well, I think it was just nice being able to follow your journey as well, because I know it kind of motivated me to actually at least walk more. So that's been appreciated. And I do think that when you can model things like that, even in YouTube videos, like it has the potential of being infectious. So
well, that's good. I'm glad I was able to motivate you to start moving your body more.
Yeah. Just not running. Not yet.
Oh, that's okay. You know, there actually are studies done that show that you get more physiological benefits from merely walking, that walking actually has more benefits to the body than running, that you don't get anything more from running. I just like running, like it's a personal preference of mine, but actually, like biologically speaking, you get more benefits from walking than running.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll keep on walking. Why not, right? So for me lately, mostly just prepping for school. School starts on Monday, so I've been like doing a lot of like meetings this week, professional development, emailing, so much emailing. I've been doing a little bit of writing. I have been doing a little bit of gardening. So just like peppering a lot of little things here and there in between
How is
doing.
your winter garden coming along?
My radishes have sprouted, and I have one green bean that's sprouted. So far, no carrots. So I think carrots take like 15 days to sprout, and it's only been like 12. So
So
might
are
have
you
to.
calling your green bean the Jolly Green Giant?
I just might. I'm hoping I get more than one green bean, because if I just get one green bean plant, that's not gonna offer me a lot. So
Be like a green bean casserole with one tiny
just,
green bean
just
in it.
I'd still eat it. I'd still do it. So tuning in so far, we have Arpy, just Arpy so far. It says 3 people on, so hopefully we'll get a few more people coming in. It's kind of a quiet night in the chat. What's going on, everyone? So before we get started talking about our topic tonight, per the usual, let's go through our mission statement. We live in a dynamic society where social media shapes us by creating greater opportunities for connection. It has led to a developing understanding of the adversity many marginalized communities face, the powers causing the adversity, and those who act as bystanders as atrocities take place in real time. Our goal with this show is to make connections and have challenging conversations about social topics, current events, pop culture, and art. Together, let's weave the threads of understanding with what privilege we have in order to learn, educate, and create in a world that's growing. So, Amy Lee Forever is lurking. Love it. It's good to see you. So, oh my goodness. Where should we even begin? So, Ari, do you want to talk about the TikTok influencer that you wanted to bring up to
Oh,
talk
so
about their
Gabby Hanna,
situation?
does everybody know who Gabby Hanna is?
I do know. I know who Gabby Hanna
So
is.
Gabby Hanna, she's a musician, writer. She's written a couple poetry books. They're so. A lot of young people really like Gabby Hanna. I would say that she's a pretty, in my opinion, mediocre writer, but she's okay. Like, if it sells books, it sells books. She's kind of I would call her a Target poetry writer. People who go to Target buy those kind of poetry books.
Oh, kind of like the commercialized poetry.
Right. I would
Yeah.
consider her one of those type of people. Like, it'll sell a lot of books to like teenage girls, but I wouldn't consider her like really highbrow type stuff. I think that she does have a lot of stuff to say. Like, I don't think it's uninteresting. I do think that there is a certain amount of appeal to her. But I wouldn't say that like it's like Walt Whitman or like Emily Dickinson or something. Like, I wouldn't say it's like the deepest type stuff.
Not like cerebral necessarily.
Not necessarily. Sometimes it does get into cerebral types, sort of. Sometimes, but it doesn't. It doesn't always have like, like. I hate to be a little bit like egotistical here, but like, when I read some of my poetry, it gets like that. You read it and it has like that nice mouth feel to it. Like, it has like it's kind of like rich, and it has like, it kind of just sounds nice, and like it kind of flows nice. Her poetry doesn't always flow nice, and I don't like that.
I know a lot of commercialized poetry from what I've seen, and it's not my cup of tea either, though I know a lot of people love it, and that's totally fine that they do. But like, I just know that a lot of commercialized poetry, it doesn't really incorporate a lot of imagery or sensory details. It's mostly making statements. And I have found that sometimes many of the statements are kind of just rooted in, they kind of like become cliche-ish because we've heard them before.
It's Instagram poetry.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's not bad or invalid. That's not what I'm saying. And I think that's like that's why I'm trying. There's an appeal for it. There's a market for that, and she definitely has cornered the market on it. She definitely has found a very big market for that, and like I appreciate that about her. She definitely is very very talented and great individual. But you know,
she's making money, honey.
she is making hand over fist.
Money, honey.
But so the problem is that Heather, and you know, you talked about TikTok poetry. I have seen some really really good TikTok poetry
Well, and
lately.
let's be honest, we also talk bad about Instagram poetry, but I have had situations where I've also seen good Instagram poetry. I really think that it
It just
really is
depends.
just,
It
it's
really depends.
right. Like for me, like I have like a specific set of preferences when it comes to poetry. And I prefer poetry that does incorporate a little bit more metaphor, imagery, etc. So, but that's just me though.
But
So,
I have seen some really bad TikTok poetry too, and I have seen some really good. You know, I think it's just as maybe it's just because we're both writers and we're like kind of like
mhm,
enmeshed, ingrained, and so like when you're on the outskirts, you only see like the really bad stuff or like the kind of like not so good. So like
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like when you're in the shit, you like kind of see the dandelions. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of like you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so true. Um, we should totally do an episode where we just read bad old poetry that we've written.
Well, I've written some. Honestly, I've been doing my tarot poetry stuff, and I realized just how much bad poetry I've written. I was like, should I put this out? This is bad. But we're getting off topic here. So
Yeah, sorry.
Gabby Hanna has been putting out a mass amount of TikToks. I think she got banned on Twitter and Instagram because she was just putting out so much content. But she has not gotten banned yet on TikTok. She's just putting out all of these like really intense, like really like very religious, very like I would say I would go so far as to say that they seem to be unhinged videos that seem to and I'm not her doctor, so I can't diagnose her. I don't like to diagnose. That's something like I've really started to really come to is I don't like to diagnose or undiagnose people with mental illness online or like celebrities and stuff is because like I don't because you can't see everything about their life or like talk to them or like go through the ins and outs of their life. I kind of did this on my YouTube channel, like with Amberlyn Reed. It's like I kind of talked about like what I thought, but like mostly I was like, I'm not her doctor, like I can't really say for sure.
Mhm.
So it's sort of like you kind of just go, it could be this, but like I'm also like not her physician. So like it seems as though she could be going through a manic episode with psychosis. Because she's sort of going through a lot of stuff right now and she's posting like a lot of stuff. She's talking about like sky dads and like gods and stuff. She's like letting strangers into her house and she's just like wildly posting. It could just be a publicity stunt. It could be a lot of things, but it appears that she's being very unhinged right now. It is what she's doing is out of the norm for sure. It is causing a lot of people to get very upset and very concerned for her well-being and safety. Um, it just seems it could, but it could also just be a publicity stunt. People do stuff like this all the time to get like people talking about them and causing drama.
Mhm.
So it could just be like her trying to, build up gossip about her or
Does
something.
she have a history of that?
Um, so it's I don't know. She has I think she has done something like this before. So it doesn't. I wouldn't. I'm not saying I wouldn't put it past her. I'm not trying to say that she would do this just for like attention.
Mhm.
But you know, celebrities have done stuff like this before. I'm not saying that she would necessarily do this. I'm not saying that this is inauthentic or like I'm trying to undiagnose her. I'm just saying that like some things you can't always believe everything that you see online, and like not
Right.
everything should be trusted, and that some people, some things are just what they are, and like you kind of just have to hope that they're being safe and that they're being taken care of, and
Mhm.
that everything that you just kind of have to hope everything's going to work out, and that you just
Honestly
kind of hope for the best.
honestly, what really worries me, and I think I've had this conversation about, like, James Charles before and Onision and, like, many other, like, influencers slash content creators who just, like, put out, like, some very problematic stuff sometimes. Like, I think that when you have great power and you exert it on social media, like, there's this risk of, like, really causing damage to those who are exposed to said influencer. And like I know like and I know that we've done this, not like what they're doing, but we've thought about this, like about like how our platforms have grown and what we choose to do with our platforms, whether it be for good or for, you know, not good, I guess. And it just makes me wonder, like, do they think about this type of thing when they are putting out their content? I would argue no.
But also, like when somebody, and I've gone through this myself, when somebody goes through a mental health crisis, like you're not thinking clearly. You're just sometimes wanting to post things because you're wanting to connect with people and you're wanting to just put things out there, and your head's kind of just in this bad space and you're just wanting to post. You're not thinking about the consequences of your actions. I understand that. And like, so going back and like seeing those things, it's really embarrassing. I have kept those up as a testament to myself of like, I don't ever want to be in that space again. And I want to show people what it's like to be like that. And like, this is what mental illness looks like. Like
Mhm.
you've seen what that looks like.
Mhm. Yeah.
So like that's why I don't take those videos down, because I want to show people what it's like to be in a bad headspace.
Right.
But so, but it's like it's not immediately like recognizable always either. So it's like I'm on two ways about it. It could just be a stunt, but it could also be like a legitimate like mental health crisis. So I'm just like, the only thing I can do is like hope for the best, that it's like that it could just be like a stunt. But like if it is real, I hope for the best for her and hope that she gets the mental health that she needs and gets the medication that she needs and gets the real, like that she's not just going to be like flailing in the wind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's never a healthy place. Like it, I don't want it to like end poorly and like, end badly for her, because it could just, it I don't want to have end in tragedy, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, we just hope for good health and good support around her, you know.
Right. But
So
inevitably it's up to her, and
it
she has to
is.
take her own life into her own hands, and that nobody can save her. She can only save herself in the end.
Right. Yeah. And well, and I think it's good to have that kind of open mind when you are watching an influencer like that too. I mean, I think we, like you were saying earlier, like we're at this point also where I think we can determine where we're going if we are in a mental health crisis, or at least we can usually spot like the entrails of it at this point in our lives, because we've had like those really difficult experiences to get us to this point and we've had to survive them.
Anyway, we're 20 minutes into an hour-long episode. We need to get on topic here.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was part of our topic. I mean, we did talk about her making money, honey. I'm sorry. I'm going to just keep saying money, honey, the entire time. So, okay, another big thing that has happened over the last couple of days is the fact that President Biden announced legislation with regard to canceling student debt. So, obviously, this has been something that's been discussed over the several months. Like, a lot of people have been suspecting that this would happen. Like people who are kind of like moderate wanted some debt cancellation. People who are very left wanted all debt cancellation. Of course, people on the right didn't want any of it.
I feel
But
like millennials have been crying about this for probably a good decade now.
oh yeah, for sure. And it's been something that I think a lot of people's wanted for like the last decade. And they essentially, it was announced that if you make 120 if you make less than $120,000 a year, you can get around 10 grand removed from your student loan debt.
And unless you get a Pell Grant, and then you get another, you get up to 25,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah.
I did. So I do.
Same here. Same here. So of course, like I think that a lot of people are rejoicing over this, but I've also seen a lot of people who've been really mad. Like I got in an argument earlier on Facebook with somebody where they were like, well, I paid off my student loans back in the early 2000s, and it's not fair that people should get student loans canceled now. And I also I made a TikTok about this yesterday too. I'm just like, if that was funny. And hello, Yogi. Welcome. So essentially, I made a TikTok yesterday, and I was just like, if you were one of those people who is going to make comments like that, where you are upset that people who are probably experiencing a harder time than we did a long time ago when education was a bit more affordable, if you're going to be mad at those people having a benefit from this, then you're essentially saying, oh, I'm angry that they don't get to suffer the same way that we did.
It's like getting mad at me because I'm on food stamps.
Yeah, like how dare you not suffer like I don't know, it's just
it's like somebody who's not on food stamps, like, why can't I be on food stamps too? And it's like, do you need food stamps? And it's like, no. And it's
right.
like
Well, and obviously this is going to impact both you and I because we both have student loan debt. I have most of my student loan debt comes from my undergrad. I'm gonna be honest.
I literally just took out more student loans for my graduate school.
Right. Oh yeah, I have some lingering from graduate school too. I'm gonna be just completely blunt. I have close to 60 grand of student loan debt.
Oh, I don't even have close to that much.
So I've been paying on it all the way up until the pandemic, and I've paid off a pretty good chunk. But because interest is so high, and the student loan thing calculates it for you, by the time I'm done paying off my student loans in 10 more years, I would literally have paid off about 90 grand because of the interest. And it's just the inflation is astronomical.
But don't you have the thing where you pay on it for 10 years and then you get it free?
Forgiven. I think I am eligible for that, but I'd have to check. I think I am considered a state employee, so I would have to check. But
my sister has that. She's a Texas teacher, and she is on the forgiveness plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just a question of getting there, because you have to work for the state for 10 years or something. Yeah. And then you're eligible for that student loan forgiveness. But so I guess, what were your initial reactions to all of this? I don't think we've shared reactions yet.
My first thing does it cover subsidized loans or unsubsidized loans? is it like all loans or just like a certain kind of loan, or like, so then I went to the New York Times article about it, and it says only federal student loan debt. So so I think that it's considered all loans. So I think that unsubsidized loans are still federal loans, I think.
I think so, yeah.
But I was like,
I'm also wondering about like private school loans or like trade schools, because I know a lot of people take
private
up.
loans are not eligible. Neither are many so-called FFEL loans, which stand for Federal Family Education Loans.
Oh, okay.
Parent loans are eligible. Graduate school loans are available. If you didn't finish your degree, that's still okay. So they're still working out the kinks of it. Like, they don't know how you're gonna have to do it.
So here's my thing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm excited that something is happening, but at the end of the day, I also kind of feel like this is putting a Band-Aid over a crack in a giant dam that's about to burst.
Well, I feel like this is like, I feel like this is the millennial like get out of jail free card. Like, this was because I feel like this was the call, because we did an episode about the college, we did the college
Industrial complex.
the college industrial complex. This kind of goes back to that like back when you and I and like a lot of our generation, that there was like this idea that when our generation went to college, that there was this boomer statement that like you went to college and that there was a guaranteed like 50K job out there waiting for you, and that all you had to do was get your 4-year degree, and that it was just out there waiting for you, and all you had to do was just get a degree in something. And so part of that was like the industrial complex was that they, first of all, there was these predatory loan practices, and that colleges hiked up student loan rates ridiculously.
Oh yeah, and
They just,
it started happening like around the time of the recession when so many people were going back to school because there were simply no jobs, right?
right. And it was just like, and then they would just like nickel and dime you on campus with just so many things. It would just be like parking passes and on campus food, cards, and like
Mhm.
it would just be like, and like then they
Yeah.
would get you with like it would be like you would get a parking pass, but then they would get you like with parking tickets, and then they would just get, it would just be like so
Textbook
many
costs and,
text,
like, uh
but then you wouldn't be able to sell your textbook back, and like just it would just be like there would just be so many scams that they would just get you with on campus, and so many nickel and dime things, and there would just be so many things that they would just get you with on campus, and you would be spending
yeah.
so much money and just not getting any money back. And then they would do things like they would give you so much in student loan refund, and you would feel like, woohoo, it's payday. But then you realize like, oh, I could have probably given that money back, and like then I probably wouldn't be paying like all of this money now. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
I
yeah.
think about like if I had not taken that money out, if I had just like taken less money out and like refunded that back, like if I had not used that refund money instead of just like putting it back, like if I had really been smart about that and just like worked, you know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have as much, like nearly as much debt.
You know, honestly, like, even working though, like, because when, like, my last 2 to 3 years of my undergrad, I had 2 jobs, and they like could not sustain it. Like they simply could not sustain the cost. Like I remember it was my second year of college. I was telling somebody this earlier today too, that there was probably a month. I mean, I had some really problematic disordered eating my second year of college, but
Oh
um
yeah.
there was like a month or two where I literally would go for like a day or more not eating anything. Like I literally was starving myself because I could not afford, like it was like textbook or food. Of course, textbook, so I passed this class, right? Um and
I
it
would
got
like
really
donate
bad.
plasma to like make sure that I had enough gas in my car. And like I would like make sure I remember once I was like I need to like because I remember it was like before Thanksgiving. I was like, I need to go home for Thanksgiving to see my family. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to donate cuz I haven't been eating this week. And I was like, I have a little bit of peanut butter left and I'm just going to like eat like a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter just to make sure that I have like enough blood sugar in my body. So like and I was like she kind of like fudged the results to make sure that I was able to donate plasma. I remember when she like fudged the results, I like cried so I could get like $40 to like put enough gas in my car to drive back to Mesquite. Like that's just like how broke I was all the time. Just like I just remember, you remember just like being that
Oh
broke
yeah.
all the
Oh
time.
yeah, it was really really bad. And um like it just got to a certain point where like I remember like because I couldn't afford books sometimes, like I would have to like borrow books like from people who've taken the classes. I've like one of my friends, it's when I went there, ended up living out of their vehicle for a while.
I had a
Um
professor that was so smart and so sneaky. Oh my god. So my professor was like, don't buy the book. I did a thing. Um, if you go on the Blackboard website, I put a PDF of the book. You can just like look up the PDF, and I will never require you to do any of the reading from the book. You don't need it. I'm sorry, like you don't need the book for anything. The book is not required. They just tell me that you're required to use the book. I will never require any of the reading. And it was just like hero professor.
So speaking of like books and stuff, like one thing, and this is actually an area where I've been working on this like scholastically speaking over the past few years at my institution. There is a kind of like a new mode of presenting textbooks called OER or Open Educational Resources, where like a lot of teachers will get like Creative Commons licenses and put together like textbooks that are open access that don't cost any money. Of course, it costs us time to do them. So I guess in a way it kind of costs us money. But like it's been really like I know like in most of my classes now that I teach, I try to use OER because it saves my students so much money. Like and I remember that experience all too well of like literally the cost of a textbook could mean a meal or a tank of gas or
Mhm.
uh,
And I wrote this in the notes. So I, but I was like, I was talking about. I thought this was a really interesting question. Should college be free? Should it be lumped into the K-12 system of specialization? I was thinking like with the associate's degree, I feel like your first like 2 years of college should really be lumped into that K-12 of like general degree that like that with your like bachelor's degree like that should be like something like as part of like your specialization. I feel like that's something that maybe you should be expected to pay for later on. But I feel like with your associate's degree, with just like general class schedules and stuff, like just with general knowledge stuff, I feel like that really should just be like free as part of like or like part of the education system. That it should almost be like K-13 or K-14 now, and that really should be like part of the education system. And that maybe we should really start to reevaluate our education system. That maybe like it should be lumped in, and that higher education should be lumped into the K-12 system. That
Right.
that really like college should be part of the expected educational system, and that it should be paid for because you know you can't just get a job on K-12 anymore. Like it's you have to have a certain level of knowledge. Like to live in our society, to be a part of our society, you have to have a certain base level of knowledge. And I'm sorry, K-12 just doesn't cut it anymore. It just you can't be expected to survive on K-12
Well,
anymore.
and we could do like a whole nother episode about those types of variables, because like a lot of K-12 is like geared toward very specific standardized testing, which I mean, that again, that could be like a whole nother like monster that we could wrangle with. I do want to look at the comments really quickly. Amy Lee Forever says, my folks paid fully for my undergrad and I got full tuition reimbursement for my MBA from my employer. That's really good.
Nice.
Like, I'm glad that you were able to find an employer who would do that. I currently, if I were to take like if I say like I wanted to go and do my Master of Fine Arts, which I would like to do. Right now I have a Master of Arts. If I wanted to do a Master of Fine Arts, like my school would properly compensate me for like those classes taken, and for if I were to obtain that degree. So there are situations like that where it is possible. RP says, glad to hear that. It was the same for me for my associate's degree. Amy Lee Forever says, that reminds me of Oprah's interview with Viola Davis, where she explained what poo means. It means, or what poor means. It means, oh, did it mean poo and then uber poor? I don't know. I'm my brain right now.
It's poop. When you're poop, you're uber poor.
I was like, Winnie the Pooh? What? Because I am asinine, so.
You're just white, that's all.
Just ridiculous. Anyway. So so do we think that this is unfair to the next generations?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying like K-12 or like the associate's degree, because it's like we're kind of just like kicking the can down the road. We're expecting like Gen Z and then the next generations, because the whole point of giving student loan forgiveness to like millennials is that we had experienced those predatory loan practices, and that college loan spike. So it was sort of like, hey, we realized that you experienced this loan problem and that you had not gotten the right tools, that right loan coaching about how to handle the loan situation and how to manage your money properly when you were going into college. So we're working on bettering that situation with the next generation. So it's sort of like that's where you're saying like kicking the can down the road. So it's sort of like with the next generation, what I think that we should do to alleviate the situation is making associate's degree totally free, so that they get that first okay, so I've got my general out of the way, so I don't have to worry about like when I get to my specialization, I only have to pay for a little bit, and like it's lessening that initial cost for myself. So right. That initial like burden of burden is like out of the way. So then the cost for the individual is minimal.
Right. So, I'm hoping that there is momentum with this though too, because I know that when Biden was elected, and that was part of the goals too, because his wife is a community college professor, like the first lady is.
Right.
And they've spoken at length about like community colleges being the future of higher education,
right,
to that effect. And I think that would be a great idea, considering like in so many states, like higher education has just lost so much funding, which is why like we've seen these, loan companies just like inflating their costs, colleges like inflating their tuition costs. Now, like at the end of the day, I do think that it's going to take all hands on deck to fix this problem. And I'm going to just kind of circulate us back to the episode I did with Heather a few episodes ago about the student debt crisis, where we talked about the fact that the student debt crisis for higher education began back in the 80s when, when President Reagan like reallocated funds and took funds away from higher education. And it kind of like caused this like, echoing effect that is amplifying and amplifying to what we see now, where we have colleges and universities with astronomically high tuition rates, astronomically high interest rates on student loans, etc. So it's going to have to take reevaluating the entire system in order to fix it as well, if we want to fix it in a very sustainable way. So, and I think a lot of it, and kind of going back to that episode too, we talked about how a lot of the reasons why academia is the way it is because of how much it's been devalued over the past decade. Like it's been very devalued, to the extent where we literally see in states right now, different states like passing legislation that's severely impacting higher education and targeting specific marginalized groups. Me, I've talked at length about the Don't Say Gay bills. That would be an example of that. So truthfully, like, not only is it going to take having to fix the system itself, but the thought processes behind those who are directly responsible for the legislation in order to fix the system.
I also think that the pandemic has gutted a lot of traditional universities, which I think has a positive and a negative effect. I feel like that decentralizing universities and moving them to an online university has done something for cost efficiency, that it has made it so that moving to an online university has made people go, I can go to a university, and that I can get more bang for my buck, and that I don't have to spend a lot for a university if I'm just wanting to learn the knowledge. So there is something with that, but there is also like this idea that there is something with the weight of a name. Like, I want to go, at least for me, there was this idea that like I want to go to a school that I want something that like a good school. I want to go to a good school. And it's like, it's so hard to go, what school is a good school? Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, do I go to a traditional university that's online? Is that good? Is that a good school? What's a good school? Like, I don't even know the like, because if it's just online, is that a good school? And are you just paying to have the name? And like, is that, because that seems like kind of a waste, isn't it? And like, yeah. I just, so it's sort of a weird, it sort of feels like a Wild West online, honestly.
Well, yeah, especially now that like a lot of different education institutions are vying for business, right? Because at this point, like, students are consumers. Right. And like customers of sorts, which is kind of terrifying. Like, I know, like, whenever like we as faculty hear that, we're just like, ooh, like that could also explain why there's been so much devaluing. But adding on to the like you were just sharing like the student perspective, which is very valid and illuminating, considering like I also remember this, like, shopping for like the best school to go to, like what would work best for me. Like, that's very imposing, especially when you're getting like promotions from these different schools and how they're like vying for us to be there.
This school is the one that has the hottest sororities. That's right. Actually, I did put that in the notes. I need tips on how to get my hot teacher to like me. And I said, is it appropriate to put winky faces in my papers?
I mean, I can't answer that question because I would definitely shut a student down if they ever sent me winky face.
I feel like I need to be more subtle about it, and like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to like, I don't know. Is it weird? Is it weird to hit on your professor? I feel like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I would say, I would say, I know, like, being that I've been in a situation like that before, I've been like, no.
But what if they're like single and you're single and like you're totally close to age and like they're into it and you're into it and like the
Well, the
vibe is
institution
right?
would have, like, the institution would have specific policies. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, after the semester or after you're done with your degree, maybe, like, I feel like that could be feasible. But during the class, absolutely not.
But you're not going to reasonably see him after the semester. That's the whole point.
Well, that's true, but I don't know. It would really depend on their policies.
I know.
All I just know is that from the teacher's end,
I've been single for 4.5 years. Do you think that I ever am actually going to be in a relationship ever, especially with a hot teacher?
I am still advocating.
Fantasies.
I am still advocating for your amazing Tinder effort, which I firmly believe will pan out at some point. Oh my goodness, Nathan is here. Hello, Nathan. It's great to see you. Four-year universities seem to be taking a hit in enrollment. Yes. Well, two-year universities are rebounding after COVID. CMU took over. Yes, definitely. A lot of higher education's been severely impacted by enrollment. And the truth is, it's because over the past few years, the economy's been relatively good. And when the economy is good, fewer people go to school because they already have jobs, which is, it's interesting. And that's why, like, when, like, in the late 2000s, like, there was like an enrollment boom, like academia was like thriving because people who didn't have jobs, like, wanted to go back to school and make themselves more marketable, right? And it's great to see you too. Long time no see. We need to catch up soon.
So,
oh my god, it's totally. I love our banter so much.
so
I look forward to it every week. Anyway.
So speaking of money, honey, can we just talk about gas prices for a second?
I mean, they have been lowering for what, a good consecutive 17 days, I think. So, like, they've lowered, but they're still pretty high.
So I'm not gonna lie. Today's what? The 25th? 25th. I don't know days. I'm on disabled time, which means I don't know days.
I didn't know there were specific measurements of time.
It means that I woke up today and I basically am alive and I'm outside of the mental hospital and I took pills today. So disabled time. It's fine.
Yay on all accounts, though.
But basically, what this means is I don't drive many places. I don't do many things like where it requires like a lot of like. So the last time I got gas, no lie, was the 3rd of August. And gas,
wow.
And gas was probably like around $4, like just shy of $4.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it, like I drive around with my sister and like I looked at gas prices and it was like $3.65 or something. And I was like, oh, gas is like the next time I get gas, which is probably going to be in like maybe another week or two, because I think that my gas will probably hold out until then. Because like I said, I don't drive many places. I don't do too much with my car. Because I just do like a little bit of like in-town driving. Like my car is literally just a grocery getter. I'm an old person. I might drive to the beach. Like that's my big trip. My big trip is the beach. Like I don't drive many places because disabled time. I don't. Because that's how I save money. I want to do a video on my channel, and I really feel like I'm kind of scared about scammers because I'm worried like that like it'll cause them to like rob me or something. But I kind of wanted to do a budget video to show you like just how little money I spend during a month and like what my budget actually looks like how a disabled person spends their money during the month. And like
I think that would be super interesting, honestly.
because I literally make like $1,300 a month, and I wanted to show like how I actually spend my money. And I was like, I wonder if that like is something that would be interesting for people to watch.
I mean, I would be intrigued. I think it would be very educational, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, we could talk a little bit about like different things that we do to save money. Like, I know for me, like I'm at a point in my life where I'm pretty financially stable right now. And but moving, of course, is a astronomical expense. So like I've been kind of struggling over the past few months. So I've been like, especially with gas prices, my partner and I, there is a Costco store down our road, like down the road from us. So we decided to buy a Costco membership so we can actually get gas at the Costco because gas is like 20 cents cheaper there. And I
I
have
love how you
saved.
sound like a Jewish mother every time you say, we go to the Costco.
Well,
Not a
like,
Jewish mother, a Midwestern mother. I'm sorry.
but really though, I've saved a lot of money with gas. And I've been trying to use like coupons more. Although the thing with coupons is that they take so much time. Like you have to like organize them and
No, see what you do is you use the Meyer app. Use the Meyer app.
I do use that too. And I also use Ibotta. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ibotta before.
Mm-mm.
Ibotta is like this app where you can connect with like different retailers and you can see like different rebates there are on like grocery items.
Oh, do you use the honey thing on your computer?
Mm-mm. I don't
So
think
what
I've
you
heard
do,
of that.
it's a web browser thing for honey. So when you're shopping online, it automatically looks for like coupon or uh
Like
coupon
deals or
codes,
something.
and it'll automatically plug them in.
Oh, that's really cool. Another way that I used to no, well, no, like there was a site called Swagbucks that I used to do too, like where you could like do surveys.
Swagbucks is awful. I hate Swagbucks.
Oh yeah, it's bad. It used to be really good, but it's really bad now. But like with Ibotta, like I've saved quite a bit of money using that. Like I mean it's not I might save like $10 a month using that, but $10 adds up. Like that adds up. So
I feel like we're Midwestern mothers at a pool party in the middle of summer, and we're sitting around, and we're
with a
like,
glass of box wine.
definitely box. Hang on. Wine cooler.
Oh my goodness. RP says, I don't like dealing with money due to being awful at math. Same. See, it's funny. Like, I hate math, but I love doing a budget. There's just something that, like, some serotonin spark in my brain when I can put together, like, a ledger or table or Excel spreadsheet where I'm just like, expenditure, credit, expenditure, credit, like,
I was really bad at budgeting, and then my sister got me one of these things to put like I do those like to
keep your
cash
coupons.
Thing. I do my cash thing, do my cash for the month.
Oh, like you like organize it so you can like allocate it. That's so good. That's a good idea.
Because it's the envelope system. I do the envelope system.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so another thing, like, okay, so obviously on the outside, Costco can kind of look expensive because you're buying things in bulk. However, we've saved money because we've bought things in bulk and we've been able to like freeze things, as opposed to like every other day going to the store and buying the same things. Nathan says, I've run 6 gas stations for the last several years. The way gas prices are calculated is so complicated. It's ridiculous. I can imagine. I've heard like nightmares about the calculation behind that. But none of them have made sense to me because it's way over my head. So, like, somebody explained it to me once, and I was like, 2 + 2 is fish. I always tell people I know I have enough math knowledge to budget and grade papers. And I know enough geometry to recognize different shapes. That's about it.
I was talking about this last episode. I was hoping I was going to be able to save money this month, and that did not happen. Actually, I was really pissy about this. You want to hear some drama?
I always want to hear drama. Give me the tea.
This is some drama. So I just told you I have a very limited budget for the month because I am disabled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my friends who I've known since college, who I knew through a mutual friend, put out this like very like frantic, like very scared, like, oh my God, I have this emergency. I need dental surgery. Like, I'm in a really rough spot. Like, I need to come up with this much money. I need to do this soon. Like, I need to come up with, here's my GoFundMe. And I was like, I felt really bad because I was like, when somebody says something is an emergency, I tend to believe them, because, and especially when it comes to your teeth, like if you have like a tooth emergency or like teeth emergency, like that's like a big deal. Like if you can't use your teeth, like, you know what I mean?
It has to
like,
happen quickly too, because usually like the pain, like that's a whole another level of pain.
Like if you can't use your teeth, like you can't talk, you can't eat, you can't, like, that's like a big deal. So I was just like, me and my on a very limited income, I donated like $20, and like $20 to me is like a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I donated $20, and I was like, fine, whatever. This bitch. Get heated.
What happened? Tell me.
The GoFundMe disappears.
That's suspicious.
She shows up. This bitch shows up. Not only in Milwaukee with a friend for a festival, not even a week later, but then later on in another city with her boyfriend, not even a week after that, for another festival. So she went to 2 festivals in 2 weeks.
Ooh, it sounds kind of scammy.
That's what I said. I was like, what about your teeth, bitch? What about your teeth, bitch?
Yeah, that's not good. Like, definitely suspicious to me. Mm-mm.
I was like, enjoy my $20. And then she's like, I posted a thing about how I was like so upset, like so nervous about grad school and stuff. She was like, so proud of you. And I was like, enjoy my $20, bitch, block. Like, damn.
Oh my gosh, I cannot.
And like, that's how you usually end up broke, is because people will be like, oh, donate to this cause or donate to this. And like, usually I don't mind donating if it's like a good cause or something, but like,
right.
Usually they'll end up in like some kind of like scam thing and be like, bitch, you're broke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's not good. Annie Lee Forever says, for a financial analyst, I'm very splurge oriented.
But isn't that a bitch? Someone scammed me out of $20 because
that is terrible. Like, I would like, it makes me really mad. Like, you do not deserve that. Like, you were literally trying to be nice and supportive, and then that
bitch took my money and went to a festival and bought beer and blueberries.
In blueberries.
It was a blueberry festival.
Oh, just thought of beer and blueberries together. It's not so good. Anyway, so do we want to share some parting advice for people when it comes to money, honey?
Bitch, don't get scammed. It's mean in these streets.
Amy Lee Forever, this is your opportunity because you're the expert here since you're the financial analyst.
Yeah,
And Nathan,
Amy Lee
you're the
Forever.
expert here when it comes to
Amy Lee Forever.
gas. I mean,
Amy Lee
honestly, the
Forever, we're
combination
counting
of
on you.
beer
Give
and
us the best
blueberries.
piece of advice. We need Amy Lee Forever advice, sage
Yes.
advice.
Yes. But like, so I guess from my privileged perspective, because I do have a lot of privilege when it comes to finances. I know there are, like, when I was going through a lot of dire straits financially, there are there are different tools out there available. I would definitely try to find those tools and connect with them. Are they going to be perfect fixes? No, but they have the potential to supplement, a little bit.
Don't be afraid to ask for food stamps. Don't be afraid to ask for housing help. Don't be afraid to ask for don't be afraid to ask for Medicaid or Medicare. Don't be afraid to ask for help with those. Like, go to DHS. If you are struggling, go to DHS, ask for help. Ask for help. If you are struggling, ask for help. People will help you.
Well, and that's so important because I feel like also people are so shamed, like constantly shamed for their financial status, right? Because we do live in a very like in a very elitist culture that does have a lot of classism, right? So there is a lot of shame. A lot of people are denied access to many different things because of their financial status.
And you know what the funny thing is? Rich people, no shame. Rich people have no fucking shame. They will coupon, they will cost cut, they will use all those things without fucking shame. It's because they will make poor people feel shame for using those things because they think that poor people don't deserve those things, and poor people won't use those things. Rich people will use all of those things without any fucking shame. No shame whatsoever. But they'll make poor people feel shame for using all of those things. And poor people, like, don't use those, don't feel any sort of shame. Rich people use all of those avenues, any cost-cutting measure. That's why rich people are insanely rich, is because they use any cost-cutting measure that they will.
Well, and the thing is, it's all conditioning too. Like, we're conditioned also to feel that shame,
right,
and to glorify those who do have like those different avenues and that privilege in order to, to succeed financially, right? It's a very tangled web that's been woven, and unfortunately it's going to take a lot of different hands on deck in order to fix it, I would say. So
it's just a very uneven system, and that some people get their like, ooh. Here we go. Advice.
Oh my goodness. Well, my friends, that comment I think is the best way to end the evening tonight. Well, everyone.
You want to read
it? No, I don't know. It's kind of inappropriate.
Okay.
But
I'm
people
just saying,
will be able to...
I'm just saying, get your money, honey. Don't let anyone
get your money,
live your best life.
Thank you, Amy, for that laugh. I needed it. Ultimately, thank you everybody for participating tonight. We're all in this together. Like I feel like we can provide encouragement and support, and I do hope that things do get better. I do hope that the current promise to reduce student loans will follow through and work out. So
I'm leads for better tomorrow.
Better tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.